1 minute, 15 seconds. The liquid nitrogen tank inside the external tank is...
A group called Space Launch Canada has, launched a campaign to promote BC in general and Vancouver Island in particular as Canada's future hub for space science, space technology, and space exploration. The group says Canadians cannot afford to wait much longer to take our rightful place in humanity's effort to develop space exploration and acquire space launch autonomy, which so many other nations enjoy. Well, one of the people spearheading this effort is Vancouver astrophysicist Redouane Fakir. He is out at UBC and joins me on the line this afternoon. Nice to have you on our program.
Hi, John. How are you doing?
Very well, sir. Thank you. Tell me about this proposal and why you think it is so necessary for Canada to have its own autonomous spaceport.
Well, we're very excited here today at Green College here at UBC, where Space Launch Canada resides. There are these folks from Canadian Space Society, from Toronto, and Canadian Space Commerce Association, and others who have come here to discuss this proposal, which was made back in November 3rd of last year at the Vancouver Playhouse. The proposal that Canada, it's high time that Canada become able to put its own hardware into space. Right now, we are actually paying hundreds of millions of dollars in fees to places like Russia and India and elsewhere to put our own hardware, critical hardware, actually in this space. And that's something that we think the time has come to change that. We live in a time where there are new challenges like the sovereignty up north, which needs critically all the information gathered from space. There's also all the technology that we use every day in Canada is based in space. So it is not really tenable that for much longer that Canada would be one of the only countries, advanced technological countries, that cannot put anything actually in orbit.
How much would it cost?
Well, this is one of the reasons why we're having this campaign, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there. The cost of being able to launch your own is not actually, it's actually low compared to different projects that we are already involved in BC. For example, the spaceport itself, the facility itself, is somewhere around $200 million, something like that. These are the modern. This is nothing like Cape Canaveral. This is like the modern spaceports are very compact. They have no impact on the environment, etc. And that is something that's less than half of what we pay for to renovate the roof of our stadium down here in Vancouver, for example. It's a lot of other projects that are much more expensive, and it might, and not really nearly as significant for the country as a whole. So the cost is not very high at all. There are other misconceptions that this campaign is actually all about dissipating.
Tell me, where on Vancouver Island, I know you have a couple of spots sort of picked out, where would a spaceport fit in on Vancouver Island, do you think?
Okay, the way these modern spaceports work is that you have, there's two parts. There's the main part, which is the headquarters, the labs for assembling various things, and that can be anywhere on Vancouver Island. We want it to be on Vancouver Island. We have been talking to several communities. I have myself traveled around and visited Port Alberni and Yukoit and Campbell River, etc., and we talked to First Nation communities, to other communities. So that can be really distributed. Different aspects can be distributed in different areas in the island. When you're ready to launch, which happens in the beginning maybe once a year, later on maybe once every few months, then in the modern spaceport approach, you just need an area maybe the size of a parking lot, and then that will be on the west coast by the water, and that can be in a variety of possible points up and down the coast. And it does not have to be every time the same spot either. So it's really more about a new way of a fresh look at Vancouver Island as a future hub for not only space launch, but astronomy and astrophysics. And it's a whole new sector, basically, coming to the economy of Vancouver Island, because there are spin-offs for the space tourism. This is what has happened in Sweden in the Kiruna space village. It happened in Kazakhstan, in Baikonur there. So you really want to create an area like Vancouver Island where there's more conferences about cosmos and astronomy. There is more scientists visiting, etc. Second big spin-off is in education, bringing more programs to the colleges, and there's lots of ambition on Vancouver Island to increase the high-end education there. Also inspiring the kids, the school kids, the local First Nations and other communities for creating this high-level new jobs there with a sector that is not polluting, that is not impacting the environment, and bring something that the whole area can be very proud of. So it's all about really a fresh view of Vancouver Island. And actually, if you see Vancouver Island the way I see it, which is from high altitude or from space, it's a beautiful. It does not look like on your road maps, this flat map of Vancouver Island. It looks. It actually looks like this beautiful chunk of land that separates Canada from this massive ocean, which is the Pacific Ocean, the biggest ocean on Earth, and looks like a very natural gateway to outer space for Canada.
Now, you have a session tonight at Cecil Green Park Road on the UBC campus. Tell me about that.
Well, this is in Green College, which is a fabulous institution here in UBC, where these fresh ideas can actually germinate. And I've been working here at different programs for about 14 years. This is some of the major players in space science in Canada coming here and discussing this idea. And I'm not saying that they endorse it yet. They're actually right in the meeting room right now. I had to come and talk to you. And then, but it's very exciting because when we first announced it, Vancouver Island and BC was a consternation in a big part of the community. But slowly, people will realize, this is actually the most natural place for this to happen. And we actually even went to the extent of organizing a trip that we are going to be offering. We can fly from Vancouver and fly over to certain spots on Vancouver Island and spend 3 days, 2 nights, kind of a retreat thing, which discovery kind of retreat, and then make you look at Vancouver Island in this brand new kind of way.
Redouane, I've got to leave it there for time. We appreciate you joining us very much, and the best of luck. Redouane Fakir, Vancouver astrophysicist, who's, as you heard, out at UBC and part of Space Launch Canada, here on The World Today at 5:51.